Hello, Booktube. This is Aaron from Aaron Read a Book or Aaron Read a Book. Got a tag for you on Tag Tuesday. Um, this is a tag by a channel I didn't know, but I saw Gareth from Book Songs and Other Magic do this tag, and I looked for the original and found a new Booktube channel, so that's always good. And it's Man with a Hat Who Reads, and he's come up with the sci-fi movie Booktube tag. Um, and it's all the questions are based on movies, but you're not allowed to use a book from that movie series as your answer. And I love sci-fi books and sci-fi films, so this is right up my street. Uh, well, let's go through the questions then. One, Welcome to Earth, Independence Day, a novel about alien invasion. For this one, I'm going to pick Childhood's End by Arthur C. Clarke. So, this is a classic sci fi alien invasion novel, but it's a bit different in that the aliens are good, so or perceived as good. They come to Earth and help society and try and form basically utopia. But there's one strange thing about the aliens is that they never reveal what they look like. They hide in their ships, and the sort of course of the novel is why are they hiding this information. So this is a very spoilery novel, so I won't talk too much about it. But it's one of my favourite Arthur C. Clarke's. It's good. Um, Life Finds a Way, Jurassic Park, a novel where science runs amok. Um, this one I'm going to go for Cat's Cradle. This is the first thing that came to my mind. Um, this is about it's sort of normal Vonnegut style in that it's got like ridiculous things in it and stuff, but the core of the novel is about this writer who's writing from the distant future, and he's basically looking back at the end of the world, and it talks about this new substance that's discovered, which is called Ice Nine, and basically it's a type of water that turns solid at room temperature, and if it touches water, it turns the water into Ice Nine. Um, and this has all sorts of scientific uses and stuff. But it's very dangerous substance because if you drop it in water, a body of water, that body of water solidifies. So bad things ensue. um, but yeah, it's one of my favourite Vonnegut's, and it's just a quite interesting concept, I think. And one one of the ways you can see the world ending is if we accidentally mess up a scientific discovery. So it's quite interesting read. Um, Next question: May the odds ever be in your favour? The Hunger Games, a novel about a dystopian Earth. Um, this one I'm going to pick a book that I never see talked about, and it's quite interesting because the writer is Walter Tevis, and he wrote. Let me double check what he wrote. He wrote The Hustler, The Man Who Fell to Earth, The Colour of Money, and Queen's Gambit, all of which you know the names of from films and TV. But he also wrote a book called Mockingbird, which is a, a dystopia, and I think it's brilliant. It was a 5-star read for me. I think it's a brilliant book, and I'm surprised that no one's ever made this one into anything. But it is it's a post-apocalyptic, almost not really post-apocalyptic, but it's a dystopia, so it would be hard to do. So it follows two characters, and it's far in the distant future. It follows a robot that basically runs New York City. He's doing all the work, and he's basically the last of his type of robot left, and he's keeping everything afloat. And it also follows a man who has discovered reading. So the world has fallen into like a drugged up stupor where humans just sit and watch TV and are on sort of opioids, um, and their brains are mush. And so this guy discovers reading through an old film and teaches himself to read. And then he also meets another girl who's not taking the drugs, and he teaches her how to read. And they basically go and work for this robot who's running the city as well. But he's he's not that happy about them learning how to read. Also, humans self-immolate all the time. They get really lonely, but they don't know why, because they're sitting in their cubicles watching TV all day and they don't understand what loneliness is, but they get this sort of lonely and kill themselves. And also the robot tries to kill himself every year as well, so it's quite depressing. It's definitely dystopia, but it's a brilliant book about the power of reading. So um, and it has some. It was written in 1980, I think, but it has some things that like make you think of the opioid crisis and screen addiction and stuff. It's really really brilliant book. Highly recommend it. Right, next question. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Star Wars, a novel about robots. So, one of my favourite UK sci-fi series is Ian M. Banks's culture novels, and this is my favourite one, I think, or one of them. Accession. So in the, slightly like Childhood's End, this is where AI robot minds have taken over basically society, but in a good way, so that that humans don't really have jobs or anything anymore. They live lives of leisure. So one of the ongoing themes in the series is how do humans sort of find meaning in their lives when everything's done for them. But this particular novel is also a sort of found object novel, because this strange object appears in the universe that is they immensely powerful and older. It seems to be older than the universe itself. So this collection of AI minds is trying to work out what to do about this, and there's an alien race that are also trying to take hold of the power. But these, I love the AI minds in these books. They're really like funny, and they have funny names, and they can take control of ships and things. If you've never given Ian M. Banks a go, the culture series is really good, and you sort of don't need to read them in order, because I don't think the first one's the best, but I love all the ones that focus on the robot minds, and this is one of them. This is going to be hard. Klaatu, Barada, Nikto, The Daily Air Stood Still. Great film. A novel where immortality and resurrection plays a part. I spoke about this one in my time travel video. This is the first thing that comes to mind. Replayed by Ken Grimwood. This is a novel where the character dies when he's 42 and of a heart attack, and then he wakes up in the 60s when he's 18, and starts to relive his life again, and then it happens again and again, and he sort of tries to affect the world events and stuff. But yeah, this has been done again since this novel was written in probably numerous other books, but the one that comes to mind is the one that Gareth mentioned, which is The First 15 Lives of Harry August, which I think is actually a better book than Replay, but Gareth already picked it, so I'm going with the original Replay. E.T. Phone Home, a novel about space travel. This could be millions of different sci-fis, but I'm going to go with Paul Anderson's Tau Zero, and I chose this because it's space travel is the main plot point of it, because basically it's about this ship that is traveling to another world that is like 30 light years away or something, and they can travel close to the speed of light, I think, or they have to travel close to the speed of light. You can't go over the speed of light. But their deceleration thing breaks, and instead they start getting closer and closer to the speed of light. And as the time dilation goes on, they realise that everyone they've ever known is now dead because of the relative time difference between them and people on Earth. So it's quite psychological on how this would affect the people on the spaceship, and it's quite psychological book, but it is classic sort of pulp sci-fi, really. Paul Anderson would churn out novels. He's got hundreds, I think, but so there are some sort of questionable portrayals in there, and it is a hard sci-fi, so the characterization's not great, but it's a very interesting concept anyway, and that was enough for me for the book to be really interesting. And if you like hard sci-fi, definitely give it a go. And it's quite short, so yeah. I'll Be Back, The Terminator, a novel about time travel. For this one, I'm going to go with a strange novel, The House on the Strand by Daphne du Maurier. This one is weird because it's a sci-fi by Daphne du Maurier, and this was the second Daphne du Maurier I ever read, because my mum had this copy, because she loves Rebecca and she loves other Daphne du Maurier. But I read this thinking it was going to be like Rebecca, and I haven't read this again since. I think I was about 11 or 12 years old when I read this, and it's this really weird sort of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde novel about a man who takes a drug in Cornwall, and it takes him 600 years back in time, and he his current day, and it's sort of set between the two, and his current day world and 600 years ago start to merge together in weird ways. And it's a bit like Goodnight Sweetheart. If you've ever seen the British TV show Goodnight Sweetheart, he's like Gary Sparrow. He the weird thing I remember about this novel is that when you're walking around back in time, you're actually walking around in real life 600 years in the future in the same place, but because it's rural Cornwall, you can do that because no one lives there, or they didn't here anyway. But yeah, very strange Daphne du Maurier. I definitely need to reread it. Aaron Facer read it recently, and he had some interesting thoughts on it, so seek that out if you're interested. Yeah, so that's the sci-fi movie Booktube tab. I'm not going to tag anyone because I never know who's into sci-fi, and the people that are, I think Gareth that I know for certain, Gareth's already tagged. So have a good one, Booktube. Bye bye.